Hey, Fragrance Family, I'm Daver.
And I'm Carlos.
And we're the Fragrance Bros.
Hey,
Come at
what's
you
up?
again with another guest review with Carlos again. Thank you, Carlos.
Glad to be here again.
Yeah, always a pleasure with having you on. So today we are doing a review on Oud Wood by Tom Ford. Now, to introduce, this is actually the new version, Oud Wood. And the first version came out in 2007, and the new one was kind of re-released with Tom Ford's Oud line in 2013. So date reintroduced was 2013. It's classified as a woody oriental. Notes are oud, sandalwood, vetiver, cardamom, amber, and tonka bean. All right, so Carlos, what did you get out of longevity out of this?
I get about like 4 or 5 hours,
Really?
but a good 4 or 5 hours. That's I don't say that often, but I hear often that people don't get good longevity from this, but I do for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Okay.
My skin, it just works on my skin.
Okay. So for you, that is actually a good amount of time for a fragrance.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So I actually get excellent longevity as well. For me, it lasts a lot longer than 4 to 5 hours, but I just have good skin, I guess, for that. So for me, it lasts, I want to say it lasts about the 10-hour range.
That's just awesome. When I say 4 to 5 hours, I mean that I can smell it clearly. After that,
Okay.
it's still on the skin, but it becomes quite soft. But loudly 4 to 5 hours.
So that brings me to my next question. How about projection? What did you get out of projection out of this?
Projection for the first couple of hours is really strong.
Okay.
I mean, I wore this once to work, and I walked past the Stockboy area, and like it was the first time that he made like a really negative comment about the fragrance I was wearing. He was like, "Why do you got to come over here and stink up my area?" Very nice. This is true story.
I hope you weren't stinking up his area. For me, I get projection in the average range. It seems like this is a little bit more subdued for me than some of the other Tom Fords. But for this fragrance, I actually kind of like that. Season, I would say this is best for fall and winter, and I would say you could use this for day or night.
Yes, absolutely.
And purpose, this is a really good dumb reach, as it were. And you can use this for casual or formal or work. I don't know about a date. That might be the only one that I probably wouldn't use it for. But for everything else, I think you could use this for a lot of things.
I mean, I wear a lot of fragrances at work, and despite that negative comment I just told you about, I got quite a few compliments whenever I wore this from girls at work, and so I would say it would be good for a date night. Why not?
Okay. So what does it remind you of?
I think this is a really nice woody scent. It's a clean, classy oud, if you will.
Yeah.
I think it's a good all-purpose fragrance because it lasts just enough, 4 to 5 hours. It doesn't overly project, but it projects enough. People around you smell it, and I always get compliments on this one. This is one of, if I had to make a list of my most complimented fragrances, this one would definitely be on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really interesting too, because for me, it's one of my least complimented fragrances. Like I don't really get many notices here, but I love it.
I do too. I'll tell you a story. I bought this years ago, and then I sold it, and then I bought it again, and I'll never, ever, ever let this baby go from my collection ever.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes. You love, you don't love, you change your mind. But I'm glad I have it in my collection. It's something that will always be in my collection.
Yeah, I totally agree. I have now just for reference sake for the viewers out there, we actually reviewed this on the 2007 version, the first original version, and I've actually tried both versions, and there's really not that much difference to me. There's a slight difference in the opening. Other than that, it's exactly the same. I got exactly the same performance. I know some people get slightly different on that one, but I got exactly the same performance, projection, longevity
better
on
or
both
worse?
of them. So
Did the people get better or worse?
I've heard some people say they got a lot better on the new version, but for me, it was the same.
Like this is an older bottle, and I often hear people saying that it doesn't last. It lasts.
Yeah.
when a fragrance lasts on my skin 4 to 5 hours, I'd say that's decent longevity. What do people want? Like to last for 2 days? Come on.
Yeah, that's also an interesting point too, because I think sometimes people, when they compare oud wood, they're really comparing it to like tobacco vanille and to Tuscan leather, because those are like super beast mode fragrances, and this
sure.
to me is not as like over the top. It's
Right.
more in the average range or excellent range in a lot of ways. But I can never complain with the performance that I get out of this. It's never been poor on me.
It doesn't project like those other two that you just mentioned, but it projects enough. It's a beautiful cloud around you.
And I actually, like I said, I love this fragrance. I don't really get much of an oud smell to it, and I actually like that because I'm not a huge fan of oud. Because because you've smelled a lot of ouds, they can get really sour or barnyardy or
fecal.
They can be kind of fecal even. They can be really weird. So I don't really care for those. But this one is This is probably my favorite oud, one of my favorites, and it's so dry and it has it's so woody, and it has like a spicy quality about it too, and it kind of reminds me of a couple of weird things like. I remember reading somewhere in the notes of some place where they said that it's supposed to have some kind of pepper note in there, and whenever I smell it now, I pick up on that more, and I don't know if it's just kind of a suggestion that's been implanted in my head, but it kind of reminds me almost of like a faint Tabasco smell.
There's definitely a peppery smell. It's spicy.
Yeah.
I mean, but Tom Ford Private Blends, there's always a bit of spice in most of them.
And another thing that I also get too is like this really reminds me of heat, almost like an abstract smell of what heat would smell like. I don't know if you have this where you live, but we don't have radiators for heaters down here because it doesn't get cold enough. So what we have is heat pumps where it's kind of like a reverse AC unit, and it just pumps heat through the air ducts. So whenever that happens, whenever you first turn on the heater down here, you get this really strong smell of dust because it has all the dust and pollen that's just been in there, and then it just heats up and it burns off. So whenever you fire it, it has this kind of a weird smell to it, but this oud wood kind of reminds me a little bit of that smell, which is kind of odd, but is really nice.
It doesn't sound too enticing, I gotta tell you.
I love it. It's a great fragrance to me that if I don't know what to wear on a cool or cold day, I can reach for oud wood and it'll be perfect. So I think this fragrance is very masculine. I think this is very modern. I think this is very inoffensive. And personally, I think this is a masterpiece in the Tom Ford line. And I think it's one of the most underrated Tom Fords in his line. To me, I think this is up there with the rock stars. I love this fragrance.
I totally agree. I think it's just a well-rounded fragrance, wearable, with enough character.
Yeah.
That you won't smell like everybody else.
Yeah.
I think it's a great fragrance.
Now, bang for buck, this is $295 for a 3.4 ounce, and I admit that's pretty high.
Yes, it is.
But I will say that this is pretty easy to find on splits. From every year you'll find someone doing a split of this. I love this stuff, so I would put down the cash to get a full bottle of this, but I would also try to save as much money as I can and get a decant if I can. Yeah, but overall I think it's worth it.
I totally agree.
Now you mentioned that you got a lot of compliments from this. So what do you think about the compliment factor with this?
When I say a lot, if I work with 50 girls and 3 of them comment on how good I smell today, that's a lot of compliments because they know that I wear a lot of different fragrances, and half the times they won't say anything, but if they take the time to say, "Hey, Carlos, you smell good," then I'll take it. And this is just one of those that I'm like, "You smell good," and it's said with enthusiasm,
Yeah, that's always really nice. I love that. Now, my wife, I think this is probably not one of her personal favorites, but she tolerates it. And anytime that she tolerates a fragrance, I'll take it. I don't really get that many compliments from this fragrance. Maybe it's just a cultural thing down here. I don't really know, but every time I wear it, I feel like $1,000,000. So, compliments be darned. I'll wear this every day of the year if I have to.
And you go, boy.
So, final rating, what do you give this?
I love this baby. I'm going to give it a 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5 as well. What can we say? It's just an amazing fragrance. I love it.
I stand behind Tom Ford Private Blend Oud Wood any day of the week.
Yep, Team Tom. So that's all we have for Oud Wood. Let us know what you think down in the comments down below. What do you think of Oud Wood? Do you like it, love it, hate it? Let us know down in the comments down below. And of course, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe down below. Love you for it. And Carlos, where can they find you?
They can find me at Brooklyn Fragrance Lover, Fragrance Community, and New York Good Smellers.
Thank you again, my friend, for coming on. It was a pleasure having you
Happy
as a
to be
guest.
here.
And we'll see you next time, Carlos, with another review.
Sounds
and
good.
everyone else, we'll see you next time. We're the Fragrance Brothers. Bye.
Bye.